Allison Mack's rise from a beloved television star to a convicted criminal in one of the most shocking cult scandals of our time is a story that few could have predicted. Once known for her role as Chloe Sullivan on Smallville, Mack's journey took a dark turn as she became deeply involved in NXIVM, a so-called self-help organization exposed as a predatory cult. Her involvement in this notorious group, which led to charges of sex trafficking and later a prison sentence, captivated and horrified the public. So just how did Allison Mack, a promising young actress, become ensnared in such a bizarre criminal sex cult?
When I came to ESP and I started to do the work in the Coles Lab, do the work in the classes, I started to transform.
Allison Mack began her career in the entertainment industry as a child with a series of print ads and commercials for a German chocolate company. At the age of 7, she enrolled in the Young Actors space in Los Angeles to study acting, and she found success in movies like Camp Nowhere and Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. She also had numerous bit parts on TV shows through the early 1990s, but her first significant appearance came in an episode of the series Seventh Heaven, where she played a teenager struggling with self-harm. Mack is best known for her role as Chloe Sullivan on the series Smallville, which ran for 10 seasons starting in 2001. However, this is where her journey from a successful actress to a member of a cult takes a dramatic turn. Keith Raniere was the leader and founder of NXIVM, an organization that initially presented itself as a self-help group, but has since been exposed as a cult that exploited women as sex slaves. Raniere, who was 57 at the time, co-founded NXIVM with Nancy Salzman in 1998. He sold himself as a scientist, mathematician, philosopher, entrepreneur, educator, inventor, and author. All of this was on his website. But prior to this, during the 1990s, he ran a business called Consumers Byline, which was shut down after investigations into being a pyramid scheme. But despite this, Raniere maintained that it was not, and moved on to his next venture, which was another multi-level marketing business, this time selling vitamins. NXIVM, pronounced NXIVM, started out as Executive Success Program, or ESP for short. It attracted over 16,000 members, but eventually devolved into what we know as NXIVM. Allison Mack became involved in NXIVM in 2006 after attending a 2-day event for women, and she quickly bought into it, climbing to a prominent position within the group, mostly because of her profile as an actress with Hollywood connections. Within NXIVM, Raniere and Mack created a secret group known as DOS, which stands for Dominus Obsequious Sororium, under the guise of helping only women achieve their full potential. According to reports from the New York Times, women recruited into DOS were required to divulge personal information about their families and friends, provide explicit photographs, and relinquish control of all of their assets. It was materials that could be used to blackmail them if they tried to leave the group. Prosecutors also revealed that as many as 50 women were physically branded with Raniere's initials, placed on restrictive diets to maintain slim physiques, and coerced into sexual activity with him. Assistant U.S. Attorney Moira Pinza stated Miss Mack was a key player in a carefully organized scheme designed to provide sexual services to Raniere.
She was the recruiter and sex slave master for the society kept secret for so many years.
Under the guise of female empowerment, she starved women until they met Raniere's sexual standards, and specifically targeted those who were vulnerable. DOS also operated on the pyramid scheme structure, with women recruited to bring in more women. Mack even attempted to recruit several female celebrities into NXIVM, including Dynasty actress Catherine Oxenberg and her daughter India, as well as Battlestar Galactica actress Nikki Klein, who eventually left the show because of her involvement in NXIVM. Callum Blue, known for his role as General Zod on Smallville, also sought NXIVM's support following a personal tragedy. Court transcripts obtained by People magazine revealed that Allison Mack and actress Nikki Klein actually married each other in an effort to get Klein around U.S. immigration law, but the marriage was a sham, as both women were partners with Raniere. Eventually, Raniere was arrested and indicted by the FBI after fleeing to Mexico. Mack too was arrested, and at her initial court appearance in Brooklyn, New York, she pleaded not guilty to the charges against her. But in 2019, she changed her plea to guilty on charges of racketeering and conspiracy. Although she faced a possible sentence of 17 years, her cooperation with prosecutors in the case against Rainier, including providing evidence, led to a reduced sentence. Shortly after, Mack was also charged with sex trafficking and forced labor, but was released on a $5 million bond. Mack's sentencing was delayed because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and during that time, she was again named as a defendant in another lawsuit, alongside Rainier and other senior NXIVM members. This lawsuit accused the organization of operating as a Ponzi scheme, conducting illegal human experimentation, and exploiting female recruits. Before her sentencing, prosecutors acknowledged that Mack had provided substantial assistance to the government and sought a sentence below the typical range of 14 to 17.5 years. Her attorneys argued for no prison time, citing her journey from desperation and trauma to one of peace, acceptance, and remorse. On June 30th, 2021, Allison Mack was sentenced to 3 years in prison, a $20,000 fine, and 1,000 hours of community service. Several months later, she entered FCI Dublin, a low-security federal prison near San Francisco, to begin her sentence. This is the same prison that housed actresses Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin, both involved in the college admissions bribery scandal. Keith Rainier, on the other hand, was sentenced to 120 years in prison for his role in sex trafficking and other crimes. Numerous women within NXIVM were sexually abused by Rainier and underwent his branding technique, which burned his initials into their skin during a secret ceremony. Mack later admitted that she conceived the idea for branding the women. It was part of the cult's initiation, where they were branded with the letters K and R, which Mack viewed as a permanent and meaningful gesture to their leader. 2 years after going to prison, Mack was granted early release on July 3, 2023. This marked the end of her extensive legal battles and ties to the NXIVM sex cult, but it is something that will follow her for the rest of her life. In the end, Allison Mack released a statement in which she repudiated Keith Rainier, saying that her involvement with NXIVM was the biggest mistake and greatest regret of her life, and she expressed remorse for her actions and how it affected those involved. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and please consider subscribing and sharing Recollection Road Entertainment with someone you know. If you enjoyed this video, consider watching this playlist. As always, thank you so much for watching.